Today is question and answer day, and I have here with me a guest, pastor, entrepreneur, and a mentee. That's the person of Rookie. Hi, Rookie.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so Rookie is going to be asking questions today. Most definitely, it's going to be somewhere around the neighborhood of something we really want to know, that we are very sure that the moment we discuss about it is going to impact you in such a way that our goal is that you would actually become wiser, more knowledgeable, and full of understanding. So, you ready? Let's go.
Let's go.
So, Rookie, what is your question?
Thank you very much for this opportunity. You know, sir, we have a twisted view of love. So
Yeah,
I want you to maybe enlighten us more. What is actually that love? And I'm talking with respect of this child, that this love that you said is missing, as traumatized. What is it?
The kind of love that I would say is missing in any child's life is, number one, the freedom to dream. In fact, every child who experienced real parental love dreams freely. They have the ability to choose to say, I want to be this. They feel an unconditional support is going to come for whatever it is that they want to pursue. They do not feel the burden of wanting to pursue an aspect of life because they want to help someone back home.
Yeah.
You see, so the first way that you know that you are experiencing love as a child in your home, as a child who grew up, if you want to say, oh, I experienced love, there was a freedom to dream. Somebody once asked, how do I know what I'm supposed to be in life? And I will always remind people that that thing you wanted to be as a child was your calling. That thing.
Wow.
Yeah. That thing you wanted is the one point, if you can get back to that thing, where you can have 100% success in this world. When I was a kid, when I was 7 years old, my dad was an expatriate. So I remember once I was crying like bitterly because I knew that I would see my dad maybe the next year or something, because I only had the chance to see him for like 2 weeks out of like a very long period of time. So when I was crying, I was 7. I can remember this very, very clearly. So I was crying, and then there was a man who was fair in complexion, that's from another country, like an American, was one of the pilots. Then the second pilot was someone who was dark in complexion. So note that I don't say the words white and black, because there are no white people and there are no black people.
Okay.
You can't tell me that the color of this skin right now is black.
Absolutely not.
That's a way of defining what you are. You see, what actually, why they started to say black and white was because black was actually demonized and white was seen as angelic.
Really?
Yes. So when you say a white man, it's the brain immediately sees all that is white as all that is good. This is why it is so easy for an African to see somebody who is fair in complexion. I learned that the complexions were fair or dark, not white or black. So you never use that word black man or white man. You don't use that. You're not black, you're dark in complexion. You can say you're ebony in complexion, but you never use that word black. So because it's a demonized word. Once you think black, it is that. Once you start thinking black, you start thinking of underdevelopment, thinking of suffering, thinking of evil.
Yes.
So
demons.
That is exactly why those people who called people black at the start used the word black. It was used to explain the perspective they had of these people, that these people were demonized, these people were as black as the devil, that kind of thing. So I never used that word. So that's why I said I was a fair guy.
Yes.
And I was a, So my dad then walked down to the pilots inside of the plane as he saw me like really shedding tears and they were holding me back and stuff like that. He then speaks something to the pilot. The pilot then stops the helicopter. Then he They're inside, they're all talking, everybody starts laughing, then they step out, everybody steps out of the helicopter, about 8 to 10 of them step out of it, including the pilots. My dad waves to my aunt and says to her, bring him. I run all the way down, he gives me a hug, he then says, you come inside the helicopter. And then we went in, and then he told me to take the main pilot side, and he took the assistant pilot side, and then he just started telling me different things. I just spaced out while I was inside. I didn't cry anymore, and the next day I just turned to my dad and said, I'm going to be a pilot.
Wow.
The moment I just looked outside of like the helicopter view, I just told my dad I want to be a pilot. And my dad said, really? I said, yes. He said, I'm going to support you. And I stepped out. I was very, very happy. I ran straight down. The pilot shook my hands. I said, you want to be a pilot? He said, yes. I said, okay, when you're older, come find me. We never found him. I'm sure he went straight back to his country, and so then again, I remember now, you see why I'm telling you that what you wanted to be as a child is your true calling. For real, like for real. The reason for that is because when you are younger, there's a purity by which you can receive from heaven. Oh, you are not yet dramatically influenced in such a way. You can pick up your life's calling easily as a child. That's why the Bible really says, train up a child in the way he should go. He should go, not the way you want them to go.
Wow.
You see, yeah, the child will tell you, I want to be, guide it for the child. The parent's job is not to choose for the child, it's to guide the person.
The child.
Protect that dream. If the child, so see another thing, when I turned 9 or 10, my dad brought cassettes. I don't know if you remember those old cassettes.
Yes.
And we're in a third world country, so we all know cassettes. So when I put it in the player, it was a Benny Hinn meeting. And Benny Hinn was wearing a grayish brown suit. Then his hair was not gray yet, his hair was dark.
Okay.
And he was singing Holy Spirit, You Are Welcome. I was like 9 or 10 years old. And then Benny Hinn took out his suit and used it to hit someone, and then the person fell under the anointing. And my dad was watching, and then he dozed off, so I tapped him and I said, I want to be like Benny Hinn when I grow up.
Wow.
So I wanted to be a pilot and a preacher. I already knew, so, but then the two things existed. It was right. Now I'll tell you something. You can be two things and be right. You can be 4 things and do all of them. Every tree will flourish under the right soil and environment. Yeah. And children are just like that. Right. You can tell if there is love by the freedom to dream. That's really it. Now let me talk to you. You can also tell about your life if you have the freedom to dream. The freedom to dream is the only God-given thing that you have in this world. Dreaming with God is not about failure. It's really about what you are willing to spend your life doing. Dreaming with God is an adventure. You were born to live your life through dreams, not to live your life through the search for money. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Thank you very much.